Okay, so hey everybody, I'm going to be adding this to a video clip I made, I don't know how many hours ago. Well, it was probably about 5 hours ago or so, and somewhere around there. Anyway, we came home. I was out delivering, and Adam was with me. He's older than I, and we both came home, and he was tired. So we came home, and I was watching TV in the front room, fell asleep. He went to the back room, and he fell asleep. He wasn't even in the front part of the house. But anyway, we both woke up, I guess, around the same time. He may have earlier. But anyway, he thinks we need to, or I need to, work myself, slowly into this, because, I did go to the hospital last month. This is April, so it was last month. And the cardiologist said I had heart failure. Did not say congestive heart failure, didn't say chronic heart failure, and neither did the follow-up cardiologist. They both just said heart failure. I wonder what the difference is. Because on some papers, I don't know if it was from the hospital or from the doctor or what, that they gave me, they do it on every place I go. like what are they called? Discharge papers, and they give you all this stuff to read. They do it with doctors' offices. Seriously. So, but it said the same, but one of them it was either congestive, then in parentheses chronic, or chronic, in parentheses congestive heart failure. Anyway, I don't have the enlarged heart anymore. I guess the medication they put me on was working. Found that out last week when I wound up in the ER again. Still have the problem that I went there for, which was a terrible, terrible backache, back and hip on the right side. Don't know. It's still not totally healed. And they said they did all these tests and everything. They said nothing. That's how they found out my heart's no longer enlarged. Anyway, I don't know why I always repeat this, because I probably have put this on a video before. But this video, I came out here. What in the world is going on? I came out here outside here in my house. Talk about something that, is going on in my life. It's online too, and I've made videos about this. Depends on where I put this. I have more than one channel, and but it's about something that I have made videos about for about 10 years now. Let's see, my original channel, which I don't use much and haven't since I've made it. My original channel will be 11 years old in August, this August. So 11 years. And that one was for shopping mainly, but not only, but mainly. And then the other one was more of a deeper, it was about toxic people, basically. My degrees are in psychology and sociology, so I talked a lot about toxic people. Cluster B, personality disorders like narcissistic, histrionic, borderline, and antisocial, personality disorders, or mainly the behaviors of the characteristics, traits, this kind of thing. And I did that for this month. It's 10 years since I made that channel, and it was this month. Anyway, and that's been hard for me, because in a way not, because like I say, I'd use it to vent, because what I've seen more in my life are the people who have, well, any of those that I've mentioned, but they have characteristics, traits, and all that. They do the behaviors, everything, mainly all of them, to some degree, and then some. But histrionic especially. Histrionic, the ones who are drama queens, drama king, queen bees, mean girls, mean boys, attention seekers. They don't care if it's negative attention, positive attention, as long as they're getting attention. Those who disagree with them are haters in their mind, so they just dismiss them. When usually the people that they call haters, the ones say, hey, we don't appreciate what you're doing, at all. They'll turn everything around to themselves. Somebody could have a tragic moment in their lives and they live and have like a few seconds, and then they turn around to them. The attention has to get back to the person with the histrionic behaviors and all. They don't all do the same. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. And as I always say, I could be wrong. I was a career student, both undergraduate and graduate, combined for over 20 years. So, anyway. But having said all that, now see, one of the things that we were taught, and it's very true, back then, is that there's research on this. That if a woman says all that, I'm setting up and showing you, I have these, I'm basically qualifications to be one to say this or that. Oh, no, if a woman does it, she's bragging, she's this, that's shame on her. It depends on what kind of woman, but the research just showed one difference between male and female. Male? They needed to know his qualifications. They expect him to talk about his qualifications. And that was a lot. It wasn't, I don't think, just one research. It was plural. Okay? It showed the difference. And, things like even, dissertations. And I don't remember the name of all these and everything. Yeah, I'm 61. I don't remember all the names. And I'm not saying that every 61-year-old would not remember, but I just don't. And some of them used it so often they would remember. I didn't. But I didn't use it that often. But it's basically, a dissertation, if it had a male name on it, and a female, big world of difference. But anyway, setting this up is to say that I've spent years online writing about people who are have these kind of behaviors, and then do you see how that keeps moving? I wonder if it's going to show up when I do it. It's like it's going to go backwards. Anyway, before videos I would write about these kind of behaviors. After videos, when I started making videos, in the past 10 years, it's been around a lot longer than that, 10 more years, I think. But, so 20 years. But I would talk a lot about these things because it's, I say it's me venting. Pressure release valve, venting. Because I saw so much of it. I have seen so much in my life, it's unbelievable. And so I point out behaviors. I don't point out the people, their names, or anything like that. To me, that's malicious gossip, and I don't do that. And that a lot of people with histrionic behavior that I have known personally in my life or online, they do that a lot. To attack the person, and when they're basically the same, hypocrites, they're hypocrites. And they're basically the same. But now, I mentioned my health and all this. So, okay, and I mentioned this about for the past, all these years, almost 11. Well, no, it's been about 10. That I pretty much every year, not 100%, but pretty much, I would make videos about these, they call them scammers, online con artists, Ebeggars. They basically, there's so many names, grifters, swindlers. They get online and they make videos. And they talk about, oh, poor woe is me. And there are people who, woe is me. People who have health problems, people who have bad things going on in their lives. I just last week lost one of my fur babies, Next day I wound up in the hospital ER because of that back. It had been so stressful. It was my little buddy. That's what I called him, my little buddy. And I would tell people, you gotta call him that, my little buddy. How do I say it? My little buddy. Yeah, like that. And he was such he was a pit bull. American Pit Bull Terrier, sweetest thing you would believe. And he wasn't that old, so he was only like, I think 4 weeks. He was a rescue, so we never knew for certain. And anyway, it was sad and all that, and so much going on. But people have these real things, and then there are people out there who actually fake these things to get money off of people. Okay, they get online. I've seen this all these years, and even before. That's from when I remember. I mean, you can see that in person. This is nothing new. It goes back in history, you know. And if you're a Christian, read 2 Timothy 3. That's about the people to avoid, and these are, I'm going to talk about those. And that's just one reference. But anyway, okay, I'm not sure why this thing moves, this mount. Seriously, I mean, I've been doing videos in my SUV, car, whatever. I mean, I don't think I ever had a car that I was driving, but wherever, for 10 years, almost 11 now. Haven't seen it move like what I'm seeing now. I don't know if it's going to show up that way, though. But anyway, even the motor running. Anyway, let's just move on. But I was saying that it's hard for me to actually talk about some of these really like toxic people, because I am actually a very cheerful person, which is, you know, it kind of contradicts in a way, but because of what I've seen and that I'm venting, like I said, you know, pressure release valve. I don't believe in keeping things bottled up inside. No way. And that's what I've seen too much of people who like, and I could be wrong on this. This is the one I don't talk about much, is borderline personality disorder. I know people who have been diagnosed with it. And my, you know, my overall experience is that's something they do. No, and I'm not saying 100%. Nope, sorry, nope. But the ones I've known, yeah, they'll keep things bottled up inside, some things, and then boom, they will explode on any person who's around. Has nothing, and it can have nothing to do with them. Absolutely nothing to do with the person they're taking it out on. You know, and they keep things bottled up. I don't do that. No, I've never been diagnosed with any of that. So, okay, so we got through all that. That's kind of history kind of thing going on there. And but today I've started to say, you know, because like I said, my health and all this else involved, I'm doing so much better. I am back to work today. I worked again, and this is the 4th day. But I'm working for health insurance, for the Affordable Care Act, that health insurance. And in order to get it here in Texas, I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but you have to show that you're working. Because I have edema, it's difficult. Oh, there's so much more to that story. And I'm not an expert on all the affordable care and all that. But I chose to do his delivery. Okay. I think I mentioned that in the first clip during the day, didn't I? I don't know. Anyway. But I'm back to work. And I'm feeling better. My medicine's working, doing what I guess it needs to do. I don't get too much from doctors. You know, any kind. They don't say much. Even I ask, I hear crickets a lot. Not all of them, but yeah, too many of them. Anyway, so I'm not sure what I'm waiting on right now. I'm just going to stay on the medication. They said there's a possibility I'd be on it the rest of my life. So, that's okay. I'm on other medication. Have to be on the rest of my life. No biggie. You know, you want to live, you to do what you need to do. And boy, that sounded so so thick with an accent. Yeah. Anyway, so today, just a little while ago, in fact, I watched again. I've been feeling this, you know, it's nothing new, you know, to have this kind of feeling on something else. But I've been watching this woman who is, and I was asking Adam if he has ever, anybody in his family ever said something like this, you know, about somebody, about a woman and saying that she's, just a nasty woman, really nasty kind. And now, like I told you, it's not about that she's talking dirty, I'm talking about, or she's unclean or something. She doesn't shower, she has poor hygiene or whatever. It's just, he said, yeah, her attitude. He said, my parents, he said his mother and his aunt, which was his mother's cousin, they would sit there, and talk about, what's going on, but they would never talk malicious. They never say anything bad about a person. But you got to think that's kind of goes right, because unless you're like pointing out behaviors like I do, or you naming names, that's a different story. It's malicious gossip. But if you do it yourself, you're doing it. Come on, don't be a hypocrite. See what I'm saying? If you're just as the kind that is just mean, nasty, rotten. They hate everybody and everything, and they also tend, in my experience, they tend to have a sense of entitlement, a high sense of entitlement, that the world owes them something, and the world isn't giving what they should be getting. Like they think that they're royalty. I don't care if you're royalty or not. I don't think that you have to have special treatment just because you are. I think we're all human. Like, say everybody went into a restaurant to get some food. There's no one person who should be served first just because they are whatever. I don't see the world like that. Just don't. Never will, probably. Anyway, but some of these people, they think that they're not, whatever it is they think. I'm going to use royalty. They're not royalty, but they think they should be treated in the way they see royalty should be treated. That high sense of entitlement, that they're entitled to be treated that way. Yeah. But anyway, this woman, she's like this. She's all these things. And people are apparently, well, she's actually said it at one point on video. These are videos now. She has actually said different videos along the way that people are leaving her, like I said, the haters, they tend to call them haters. And people have been leaving her a message saying, this behavior of yours, whatever it is, these are different behaviors. Like one person will say, this behavior of yours doing that is not very appealing. They're trying to give them, I don't say it appealing, but they're giving them constructive, what in the world? Constructive criticism. And oh no, don't you dare do that. Because they think themselves, that's how they see it. Don't you dare, because they see themselves as perfect. That their behaviors are, and they have every right to be however they want to be. And this person says stuff like that. And then the next, say a week or two next, this person, she says, oh, they said something, somebody else said something bad about her. You never see them in the comments, because I guess she gets rid of them real fast. And maybe she sits there and waits for each comment for hours, so she can get all the bad ones out. Or maybe she has the moderators do all that. And if she has them. But she, and this is somebody I have watched over time, I should say that. And I made videos about this behavior. Now this behavior, I'm going to say behavior, I have been making videos, like I said, for 10 years. It's like it's if it's on a script. And they all go by the same script, pretty much to the letter, I guess you say. They pretty much do. It's the same thing. Now, they don't do the exact same thing, and they don't all do the same ones. But pretty much. I'm serious. Pretty much. To get money off of their audience. Make their audience feel bad. And then they'll make fun of their audience in a sly, use the word sly kind of way. they'll make fun of their audience, and the audience, a lot of them can't figure it out. Don't want to blame the victims, but some just don't realize it yet. Same pattern, the whole same start to finish, you know, months, years possibly. Some just keep going on, some get kind of run out of town online legally and all that. But anyway, you know, like I said, I've seen them, so many of them over the years, different ones, different, you know, different themes, but basically the same kind of script. Yeah. Okay, anyway, if anybody's lasted this long, which I doubt, I think you can figure it out. What I'm saying is, it's to jump a little ahead finally. It's unhealthy at this point to me. I mean, I've made the videos. I do it like I said, pretty much every year, and you know, get some of this off of me, and hopefully, you know, more people can. I mean, these people who are complaining, they're only going to get louder. That's what I've seen over the years. You know, the people that point out the other person, say their name. I don't do that. You know, like I said, it's malicious gossip. I just talk about the behaviors. But other people, they'll go and they will out that person directly. You know, say their name, their channel name, and they'll just take clips and do reaction channels and parodies and whatever else. And yeah, I can see that happening because lots of lies, lots of you can say hints at lies. That's usually happens quite a bit. Like they'll say they don't have money for something, and they're lying somewhere in it, like, oh, my husband left me, and no, he's still there. Y'all are just grifting. You know, this kind of stuff. Or they don't have the money for this or that, and they really need it, and they go out and get their nails done and their hair done, and you know, things like that. When people are going, wait a minute, you know. But it's not healthy, you know. I ran across you know, there's two of them, and then actually there's more than two. I know a few people who were doing this. And not know personally, I've seen online. Some you just go back to and they're still doing it. They've been doing it on for years. But actually it's, I think there are 4 channels. And then today, one, it was a man, and he just popped up basically complaining about something somebody should have. And somebody really should have said, you know, like I say, I don't point out the person, but some of the information is pretty bad that's been put out there over the, you know, over years. And when somebody puts out a lot of misinformation or disinformation or something that costs a person their livelihood, you know, because they're wanting to make a little bit of money. Yeah, anyway. So I've seen several, tis the season or something going on here. And maybe people are getting ready for, I don't know, their kids to be out of school for the summer or something. They want all this extra money. I don't know. There's tax season. Tax season just, you know, I still got to do my taxes, actually. And it's past tax day. I did get an extension with all my health and lost the dog and all that, you know. And anyway, okay, let me get back to that part. But yeah, I think I've done my yearly thing now. You know, like I said, just today another one popped up on my screen. You know how it recommends videos. And I'd never seen this guy ever before. And so other people, you know, I know that every time I do it, other people are doing it too. But that, you know, they're more of a reaction to the person. Mine is just to the behaviors. And I mean, I know you know, how can you say that, right? Because Some of these people, they're so mean and evil, some mean, some just, they smirk, and they just have such bad behaviors. Make fun of their audience, make fun of other people, and that's, they're acting like they're doing, like they're sincere when and then they smirk. How somebody is acting all sincere and then smirk, to make fun of their audience. Like their audience is so naive and stupid, and that's how they view it in their heads, their own head. Okay. But like I said, today I'm like, this is not healthy for me. Again, so it kind of goes together. I do one, usually there's a season, I do it and talk about it and then move on. I do other stuff, so I can see myself doing that. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, I just want to stop watching, because she is getting more and more that word nasty. Nasty. She comes up with stuff, like I was talking about the people complaining about her, and it's obvious. I see a lot of her behaviors that make me cringe. Seriously. They make me cringe, the things she says and the way she says them. With the sense of entitlement and acting like she thinks she's royalty. A little delusional there. Her worth, I think we're all human. We all have our strengths and our weaknesses. We're worth the same. I'm not talking about money. I don't think anybody deserves a special treatment, like I said. She does herself. She thinks she is the person. Everybody's supposed to drop what they're doing and treat her special. And it's just, and then she, like I said, she comes up, like you can tell that somebody has, now she doesn't even say that they have, but she has that smirk on her face. And then she says, she comes up with that she's coming up with a way to say that her behaviors are not wrong, but she's not saying that. She just finds another better word for what apparently somebody has complained about. They've used a word, to complain about it, but she finds another word for it, but she doesn't say they complained about it. Boy, is that as clear as mud or what? But she puts it out there that her behavior is normal. I guess that's the easiest way, that whatever she's doing is normal behavior when it's far from normal. My degrees are in psychology and sociology. It's far from normal. Okay? But she'll put it out there and she'll smirk, because she thinks she's smarter than everybody, and that everybody's going to believe it because she puts it out there that way. People catch on. Seriously, at first they can get away with it, but people catch on. And I've seen this pattern, I've seen the script, I've seen this carry on, and what happens, some people can stay around forever, practically, for years, and other people are, people catch on. Not everybody, but enough, to really just, I find it disgusting, but some of them just keep going, because it's like a lather, rinse, repeat with them. And then the audiences, when some people they get so disgusted, they just drop off the platform, whatever it is. It's not only one social media platform. Sometimes it's multiple. I only watch one myself, but some people find them on other channels and on other platforms, And some people just, ooh, this is disgusting, This is not what I want to spend my life, around, or, online around. Yeah. So for me right now, I think that's what's going to happen, because, I know my pattern is I tend to trail off and move on to something different. Okay, I have that focus because of my degrees and because of what I've seen in my life mix, you know, and all that. And then I have my fun, which is the shopping videos and some kind of vlogs and such. But I don't have to watch them. I don't have to watch mean, nasty, evil, con artists, swindlers. What was in my mother's or her parents' age? Flim Flam, was it? I don't know. And swindlers, con artists. I already said that. These days it's more ebeggars, you know, electronic beggars, and grifters. I see that a lot. But you get the gist. And there's one of my favorite words. Well, it is my favorite word to describe some of these. It just sounds cute. I've been using it since far back as I can remember. Charlatans. Bunch of charlatans. Just the word sounds like, kind of like what. Anyway. But, yeah. You know, and then, like I said, another one showed up. And a lot of people, the guy made it, I think, today, the video. And the woman, I had already figured out who it was. Well, I thought there might be another one. But that one came to mind the more I listened or read. Because a lot of people made comments about it. How, yeah, they know who he's talking about. He was the same way. He said, I'm not in here to talk about the person. I don't want to take them out. And that's how I am. I've been doing this for years. It's the behaviors. It's to watch out, to be careful who you listen to. And a lot of comments, a lot of other people watching it were saying, yeah, that's pretty bad. They know who it is and all this stuff. I went over there and over there, like I got up and walked in another room or something. Went to that channel and yep, there it was the next day. I mean, the day before she had made it. But this is nothing unusual. There will be other people out there that are going to be talking about these too. Not just me, not just him. Like I said, first day today was the first time I ever ran across him. But there will be others out there. That's my experience. That are doing the same, talking about the same people. You know, it can bother you, really. But anyway, I think I made this too long, and it's getting dark. You can't tell it, but all right, I'm going to wrap it up. I'll talk to you on another video. And what do you think? I mean, have you had this experience, these kinds of experiences? Talk to you on another video. Bye.